Welcome back to our second race of the night. Reverse Grid League of the Scientists Reverse Grid League. The second race takes place at Suzuka in Japan, in the land of the rising sun. And after a beautiful win at Silverstone for Casto, he's up for another big points finish here at Suzuka, at a track that's very technical and unforgiving when it comes to cutting a corner or going a little bit too wide at the exit of a corner. There's always some grass or gravel awaiting you, so you have to be very, very careful. It's always nice to realize that you're talking to the whole lobby before the race starts, and switching to party chat to avoid some annoying stuff during the race for the boys. As you can see, Raisin has joined for a second race of the night in the Merc, teammate of Chappie. He's starting, of course, in the back as he hasn't raced at Silverstone. As you can see, Moshe in his McLaren starting from P1, followed by Eskimo, Slider Squall, Corleone Ian, Prolova Racing Good, PI Chappie, Walter B, Nick in P10, Yo in P11, Rob P12, no winner of Silverstone, Caston P13, Duradan DNF from the race at Silverstone. That means he will start at the back together with Raisin, who joined for a second race of the night. As always, we keep a closer look tonight at the telemetry, at the whole map, so you can follow your favorite driver on track to see where he is at the moment. And of course, we're keeping a closer look at position changes, at pit stops, choice of tires, and of course penalties. As we're talking about choice of tires, we can see that only two guys decided to start on the mediums. Slider Squall and Prolova both on medium tires. Everyone else is starting on softs here around Suzuka. The most important thing here is that, of course, you have enough speed, but you have to have the grip to conquer all these tricky corners. Especially here around Spoon, you need a lot of grip, mechanical grip, and of course grip of the tires to make your car stick to the ground and not lose your car. Because you pay for it here around Suzuka. As you can see, there's only around 2 meters of the grass into the barriers as you come to maybe the most famous chicane on the calendar, the chicane that leads onto the pit straight here at Suzuka. As everyone is forming now up at the grip position, you can also see that no one was disqualified from their formation lap. That means everybody's starting with warmed up tires. The grid is still forming up. Last cars are taking their place right now. And in a few seconds, we're witnessing the start. Lights are going out right now, but that doesn't mean anything around Suzuka, especially in Codemasters. And the real start is right now. Moshe still in P1. Eskimo attacked by Slider Squall, who's taking P2 for the moment, but Eskimo reclaiming P2 side by side into the S's. Eskimo on the inside, winning that position. You can see that Rob made up some positions. Racing Good losing one, Casto losing one, Castro going up now, so we have Pro Oliver down. Pro Oliver is on the grass. He may have lost it. Let's see if his wing is okay. His wing is okay, but his tires doesn't seem okay, as he's spinning all over the place with his car. No traction for him. Nick gaining a position against Chappie into the hairpin. And Nick trying to get another position against Slider Squall. He went down from P3 to P6 now. Nick on the softs on the inside, making his way through. Eskimo P2, Corleone P3. Beautiful result for the Haas team right now. But Ian is on a mission. Ian in P4 attacking Corleone into 130R with the fastest sector in Sector 2. Trying maybe to attack him into the chicane. He does, but he backs off as he sees that Corleone is defending his line and cutting across him. He has every right to because he's in the lead, but Ian with enough ERS to attack Corleone now on the pit straight. Up to P3 for the moment. Let's see if he can catch Corleone here. Corleone go wide. Ian on the inside, making it stick. P3 for Corleone. A lot of pit stops. Walter B. York, Casto, Raisin, and Chappie, I think. Chappie, no, Chappie lost it somewhere. Chappie wasn't in the pits, if I'm correct. A few guys have pitted, and we have Doradon in the gravel. Doradon in the gravel, losing it in the S's, rejoining the track as safely as he possibly can here. A lot of problems for him. Casto down to P12 on mediums. He pitted on the first lap. Doradon spinning again, going down the order, now in last place. You're in P14 on hard tires, because he started on the mediums, pitted early, and doesn't trust his soft tires to last the whole race. So that means we have a battle here. Racing up in P7, trying to attack Slider Squall in P6. Maybe making it work on the pit straight. Very close behind him here into that chicane. Ian with the fastest lap right now in P2. That means Eskimo also lost 2 places against Ian and Nick, and Racing Goop is on the pit straight on the inside into the first corner, overtaking Slider Skull with a beautiful move. And we now follow Eskimo in P4 and Corleone in P5, very close behind Nick, Ian and Moshe. And Moshe has a beautiful gap to Ian, 1.5 seconds, somewhere around that. So no DRS for Ian right now on lap 3. Rob is pitting. He's on medium tires right now. Let's take a look at penalties. Beautiful to see that no one has penalties right now. Raisin is making his way up. Casto in the gravel. Casto in the gravel. Raisin overtook him. Maybe they've collided there at a very tricky point at Dunlop 1. Not Dunlop 1, Dunlop. It's only Dunlop, so we don't have Dunlop 2, 3, or 4. And we see a McLaren spinning. That's Yaw lost it into Degner 2. Yeah, absolute heartbreak for Casto as Ian sets another fastest lap, 129.7. He's on a mission to attack Moshe for the lead in his Pink Panther. Nick in P3 behind him. All these guys from P1 down to P6. Racing Group playing P6 against Slider Squall, all on soft tires. Slider Squall, the first medium. Chappie on softs, 8 seconds behind Slider Squall, and Ian's coming closer. He's coming very close to Moshe. He has to be very careful not to run the back of him, but that will cost him time against Nick. He has to overtake him into the hairpin. Let's see if he goes for the move. He doesn't go for the move because the safety car is out. We have a full car safety car because Corleone is out of the race. He lost it out of Dunlop, crashed into the wall, and is out of the race. Pro Oliver very irritated, running over the grass because he couldn't believe it. But that means we have a full car safety car, and everyone on the softs has effectively a free pit stop. Let's see how that affects the race here. Because all the guys who've already pitted on mediums won't pit again. I don't think so. All they pit on softs, but that's a bold strategy call. Let's see what happens here. Moshe, of course, will come into the pits. The first three guys are all coming into the pits, and Moshe getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Eskimo also gets a 5-second time penalty. That's not what you want, and the Pink Panther of Ian was held in the pits, and that means Nick has jumped him. Nick gets a free overtake on Ian into the pits because Ian was held by two cars who were about to pit in front of him. That means the pit crew held him, and effectively Ian loses a position here against Nick. Moshe still in P1. Nick now up to P2. Eskimo out of the pits in P4, of course, with a 5-second time penalty, as Moshe does. Slider Squall gaining a position up to P6, racing to P5. That must be because Chappie pitted 2. Chappie was in P8 or 9, had to pit and went down to P10. Raisin already up to P7, go to be P8, not P9. Proliver P11, Casto in P12. And we have a very slow pass. It's King Eskimo, who seems like has parked his car there on the grass. Not clear to me what happened here. His wing looks fine. Oh, he's spinning, and now his wing doesn't look fine anymore. That seems like Eskimo is parking his car here, maybe DNFing. Very, very unfortunate, because Eskimo was in P4 doing a George Russell here behind the safety car. Very, very unfortunate for that young man. He has to pit again for a new wing, and then he can collect the first set of soft tires, because the race is not over. He's in P13. But with the safety car, he will be close to the pack again, and people maybe will spin or get penalties. And just keep your head up. Never give up in a league race. Very, very important. And we can see that Eskimo DNF from the race. He quit in the pits. That means he won't score any points. Of course, there will be a lot of frustration on his side for the incident that happened there. It's not clear if anyone was involved there or if it was just him, but we'll get clarification on that after the race, surely. But that means both Haas have DNF from the race. No points for Günther Steiner and his fucking wankers. Nothing to get there. Very unfortunate. They looked like rock stars in P4 and P5, but now they're looking like a bunch of wankers, unfortunately. With F1, you just never know. But surprisingly, to my surprise, Moshe is still in P1, of course, with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But still, he's in P1, he's leading the pack. He will make the pace as soon as the safety car comes in. It's a very late call by the race director, but the safety car is coming in this lap. Moshe is entitled to make the pace, and I'm off the lobby. That's very unfortunate. Not the scenario we all wanted, especially with the restart, but we'll try to join back as soon as possible. With a little bit of luck, we only miss around 1 minute. Let's see how the field looks as soon as we rejoin after the safety car restart here at Suzuka. Moshe was leading the pack in front of Nick and Ian. Let's see how it looks after the restart. And we can see that Moshe is still in the lead in front of Nick and Ian. Raisin was in P7, he's up to P4, Walter B P5, and we can see that Castro took a white line here. A little Japanese adventure for him and his Red Bull. Slider Squad on P8, your P10, Rob P11, Racing to P12, Gerard on P13. Well, let's take a closer look at the leading pack, and we can see that Nick is very eager to overtake Moshe here on the pit straight to gain P1. Let's see if he can make it happen. 3 seconds for Castro, as we can see. And the leading pack of Moshe, Nick and Ian also got a gap of 2.5 seconds to Raisin, but he's very quick, and these 3 cars are fighting for position. That means Raisin has a real chance to close the gap and maybe overtake 1 or 2 or maybe all of them. But let's see, he's closing the gap rapidly. Half a second in the first sector. Let's see how the ERS levels are right now. Ian very close behind Nick, almost gaining an advantage out of the hairpin here. Moshe down to 38%, Nick the same. Ian even a little bit lower, but Raisin with over 60% behind them. Walter B at 84%, also very close. We have yellow flags into sector 1. Let's see, it was Doradan again in the tricky F section. But Nick is now very close behind Moshe, going on the outside in the chicane, leading, cutting across, gaining P1. Ian behind Moshe. Ian wants it. Ian wants it bad. He will get the DRS, but he won't have enough ERS. Raisin behind, setting the fastest lap for 1:29.580. Only 1.6 seconds behind Ian. I'm a little bit too excited right now. Racing Up with a 29.2. Well, Racing Up is down to P12. He has kind of cleaned air, 1.5 seconds ahead of him, Rob. And we also have some penalties. Casto with a 3 second time penalty. Moshe with 5 seconds still from his pit stop. Ian very close behind Moshe now. But as you can see, Racing closing the gap rapidly. In the braking zones, he's so much faster. He's gaining a lot of time here. He's right behind Ian. And the best thing Ian could do right now is not to panic. He's down on ERS. Moshe too. Raisin not. So he has to overtake Moshe as soon as he can. Because Raisin is there. He's waiting for them to do a mistake or to panic. And Raisin is going for it. Into 130R against Ian, and he's already in front of him before they turn into 130R. And now he will get the DRS on Moshe, who's kind of a sitting duck right now with only 13% of ERS. Raisin with over 40%, using it right now, using DRS, coming closer to Moshe. Will go on the inside, and he is on the inside, he is ahead, and he overtakes Moshe up to P2. So we have Nick in P1, Raisin in P2, and maybe we have that scenario that I've teased a little bit with Raisin not only overtaking one or two, but all of them and getting the win here at Suzuka, but we're not there yet. Don't want to jinx anything. Nick in P1, Raisin P2, these are the facts. Mosher P3, Ian P4, and Walterby is closing the gap too. The big advantage Walterby has is that his ERS is at around 70 to 75%. Ian and Mosher are completely down on ERS. Chappie collects a 3-second time penalty, and Ian has to overtake Mosher as soon as he can, because the guys behind him are coming, and they're coming quick. Ian using the last bits of ERS. Mosher also down on 3%, so they won't fight with the ERS because there's nothing left. But let's see if Ian gets a sweet exit here and can make use of DRS and Raisin with a 28.9 fastest lap. That's a banger, but Ian not close enough to overtake Mosher for P3. That means Walterby is coming close. He lost a little bit from 1.5 to 2.0, but he's down to 1.5 again. Chappie in DRS of Walterby. Chappie with a penalty of 3 seconds for Oliver 2. Let's see if we have any close battles here. Racing Good and Rob are battling for P10, both with no penalties right now. And Raisin has closed the gap down to 0.6 of a second within one lap, and it's 2.5 laps still to go. Nick under pressure. Raisin down to 20% ERS. Nick 2. That means driving skills and DRS will help Raisin or Nick. We'll see if Nick does a tactical change of positions to have the advantage on the last lap, but right now it seems like they're both fighting hard for position here. No tactical moves. And Ian still 6/10 behind Mosher, not in the range to attack him right now. Raisin coming closer and closer, only 0.4 of a second. The big advantage for Raisin is that he can come closer to Nick on this lap of his ERS, because Nick is completely down to 14%. Raisin, of course, not much more, around 20, but he can save a little bit behind Nick here with DRS. On the last lap, he will make the move, probably. Let's see if anything else is happening on track for Oliver. Very close behind Chappie here in P7. Very close gaps. We have yellow flags in Sector 2. It must have been Doradon again, who left the track, maybe spun. Or we're coming back to the fight for the lead between Nick and Raisin. I'm still positive, surprised by Mosher's performance here around Suzuka. In P3, of course, with its 5-second time penalty of the pit stop, but fighting against Ian and holding him back is a massive performance by Mosher, who's coming on to the last lap. And Raisin is very close behind Nick now, coming into the S section. Let's see if Walterby can make something happen here against Ian, who's in P4. Doradon's Ghost driving here with these guys. It's a bit irritating for all these guys to find the racing line if there is a ghosted car. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. Rob getting a 3-second time penalty. Raisin still only 0.2 of a second behind Nick. Going to Degner 2, coming up to the hairpin, very close behind Nick. The only opportunity Raisin has is on the long straight into 130R. Both down on around 10% ERS. That means it comes down to the exit of Spoon. Right now, both without a penalty, both on the same level of ERS, and both fighting for the win here at Suzuka. It seems like Nick has it in the bag, but we still have the chicane in front of us, and that can set everything up for Raisin or for Nick. Let's see what happens here. Both with a good exit, very clean, very safe, and Nick is crossing the line here at Suzuka and wins the race in front of Raisin. Moshe getting P3 on track of Curls, losing some positions against Ian and Walter B. And not Chappie, no, he's getting P5. Beautiful result. Massive performance by Moshe. Chappie P6. Pro Oliver finishing P7. Your P8. Racing Good P9. Casto down to P10. He won't be happy about that race. Rob crossing the line any second in P11. Slider Squall behind him in P12. And Doradon in P13. Again, like Silverstone, before we compare races, congratulations to Raisin, of course, for driver of the day, and to Nick for winning that race here at Suzuka. To get the comparison to Silverstone, the race before, again, very clean. No major incidents between drivers, which is very, very good to see. Drivers evolving from race to race. And drivers are getting better from race to race, resulting in Nick winning Suzuka, Raisin finishing in P2, and I think Ian in P3 and Walter B in P4. Yeah, Ian P3, Walter B P4. Massive performance, massive points for Racing Point. Moshe finishing in P5, Chappie P6, Pro Oliver P7, Your P8, Racing Good in P9, Castor finishing P10. Behind him, Rob, Slider Squall, and Doradon. Unfortunately, we lost both Haas, King Eskimo, and Corleone due to incidents that may have been caused with or by different drivers, but we'll come to that later in our incident report. If there's, I hope not, because it was all very clean. Tracks right now, but you will see that it will be spectacular. Thanks a lot for joining. Have a nice weekend, stay healthy, and good night.